Welcome gamers to a one-off video looking at the Iron Oath. My name is Daz Tactic and welcome to the channel. I'm just going to make this basically as quick as I can, but still showing enough of the game to hopefully give you a bit of a feel if you think it might be something that you're interested in actually getting for yourself. It's a game that's interesting. It's just coming to early access, so there's still a lot of work to be done. There's actually a road map sort of showing the various things that they're sort of planning. Now, there are some other things that I know that they're planning as well, because I was a bit disappointed with certain aspects of the game, but I have been told that it's not a high priority, but they will be addressing it at some point. I hope. Anyway, that's certainly what they did actually tell me. So, the Iron Oath is basically a bit of a combination between Battle Brothers to a certain extent. You essentially are managing like a band of mercenaries. But also it does have sort of some of the mechanics of Battle Brothers. The combat is really quite nice, the way it sort of does work. It's all turn-based. It's a turn-based game. So you've got like Battle Brothers, and then a lot of the dungeon crawling is done with a bit of a Darkest Dungeon sort of feel from the strategic aspect, not so much the tactical aspect. The tactical aspect certainly does play out more like Battle Brothers, essentially, where you're sort of moving your characters around on a battle map, which I prefer actually. It's one of the things that one of the reasons I don't play much Darkest Dungeon is because I actually don't like the combat system, whereas I much prefer the combat system in this particular game. But there are some big problems that I find with this game anyway, like just from like a couple of things right from the very start. If you go to new campaign, I won't play this because I've got a save game that I will sort of then go and start to sort of show a little bit of this one here. But if you just go into here, and I'll just call this one test or something like that, you can sort of randomize this, which is all fine. That's not a problem. You can sort of change the colors, etc., which is great. By the way, the pixel art is beautiful in this game. It really is really quite nice. Now, you see this through here. You've got skip opening prologue mission. So you can go yes. Now, normally in most games, that would mean that you are skipping ahead of the tutorials. You're basically getting past all the tutorial content and getting into the open world. No, not in the Iron Oath. You skip past about 20 minutes of a 3-hour tutorial. So you skip past only a very minor portion of it. And look, it is worth playing through the full tutorial at some point, or the prologue missions. I'll say missions because there's about 4 different missions that you need to do to get past the story events. And I don't know why they didn't have a skip past all of that and sort of allow you to get to the open world. My interest in these games is nothing at all to do with campaigns. I don't like campaigns. I don't like scripted content. I like random content. So for me, the open world is all I want to play it for. And by not actually having the open world available with a simple skip ahead of it, that's a bit of a deal breaker for me to want to play the game, regularly, because I sort of won't feel like I feel like I'm going to have to play through the same stuff again and again, just every time I actually start a new game. So for me, that's a pretty big problem actually. So I do hope that they do address that one sooner rather than later. But I have been told that it's something that they will actually look at, but it's not on their radar at this stage. And I think that the reason that they're doing that is to try to introduce the story to you. Again, zero interest in story from my perspective. I really don't care. I just want to be playing a game where I can do my own thing, and the more open the world is, the better for me. And at the moment, I'm a little bit shying away from the game simply because of this one aspect where you still got to go through and play so much. The other thing is that I find a bit sort of annoying is in the difficulty settings. And when you actually have a look at these things in through here, you've got 3 different difficulty settings. So you've got Adventurer, which gives you a lot of gold. The enemies are fewer. So in dungeons, you time mods I'll talk about this with the game mechanics when we get in there, but this is essentially the easy mode. Then you've got like the battle hardened mode, and then you've got like a warlord mode. You also have something that's set up for the battle hardened mode, like the middle mode. I would love to know what the settings are for warlord and also for adventurer in this particular customization one. So it would be pretty cool if, instead of having customized in the loop from those, if there was actually a button to customize from whichever one you want to start with. I think that would be just nice. Just that way new players get a bit of a feel for what's actually going on. But you can see there's a lot of settings, which is quite nice, to sort of be able to then chop and change the different bits and pieces as to how the game actually then does work. So again, this is all great because this does sort of then indicate sort of how the game will actually play. Another thing I find very strange with the game is that you can't come back and tweak your settings after you get started. I think that that's also something that I would prefer to have that somewhere accessible. I certainly haven't been able to find it because I've found that the game I've got saved, I played on easy and it's too easy, and I would like to ramp up the difficulty a little bit. And so that would be cool if you could go back in and actually go and change things in here as you're playing, because it's a single player game. I think it actually, is there multiplayer? Is there multiplayer? I'm not sure. I've got a funny feeling there may be something to do with co-op mode. I don't know if that's coming. I may be completely off beam there. Ignore that comment. Anyway, when you sort of start a new campaign, I'll just go back and I'll just sort of show you the very, very basic. So I'll just go back out of there. Just go to new campaign. I will just call it test. And we'll just randomize that. There we go. And I won't skip past the first prologue mission, just so you get a bit of a feel for the way that sort of does work. So if we just go and choose difficulty, and I'll just go battle hardened in this instance. And there's a lot of verbiage in this, and you've got to wait for it. Like I've clicked, I'm waiting. I've got to wait for this to come up down the bottom here. Bang, there we go. So if you've read it once, you don't really need to be reading it again. And I find that a lot of games are like this, where they're so tied up in the actual the story, and sort of like they don't want anyone to miss out on the story, but the game should be made for gamers. They should be made for gamers to have choice. And so if you don't want to be playing the story as such, then you shouldn't have to sit through all of the actual stuff. Like there's no skip, for example, with the dialogue. Like I can click on continue, I can click and then it could sort of start to go through it, but there's no way to actually skip past this. Now, this one is a bit sort of simple. This is just like the tutorial mission. So this one just is now going through the various aspects. But you can see there the actual the pixel art is really, really nice. Like it's beautiful the way it sort of does work. Now we've got 4 different characters back and through here, so you tend to always sort of start off with this one. I'll just go next. Again, this is just a prologue mission explaining where things actually are. So you've got to do what you've got to do in this one, and sort of move them around, and it just explains things, and it does do a good job. So it's very, very well worth doing that one as a one-off. Now I think can I hit that one? No, I'm not allowed to. Oh, I've got to do that. Anyway, I won't keep on playing this. What I'm just going to do is I'm just going to go and skip out of this, and I'll open up one of the games where I've actually gone past the 3 hours of prologue, all four of the different sorts of prologue missions. So you only get to skip this first mission essentially. Actually, no, we'll skip it because I'll be able to show you the dungeon crawling aspect of the game anyway. So let's just go back out. And we'll load a campaign. I've got one here with 4 save tiles. So I've got one where I've just trying to think of the best way I should start this. I might just try this one here. I think I'm sort of in the starting city back and through this aspect. Yeah, so we're in a place called Andalon. Now it is turn-based, so it's not like Battle Brothers where it can sort of be running ahead, even though the world is sort of changing. The day is not going up at all. This is really quite nice. One of the problems I have with this is that this is not random, so you always have the same map that you're playing on. Now that's not a big deal for me, but it is still a map where there is going to be obviously sort of story events with walls and stuff like this. You've got different towns that are sort of like you've got this is House Jawston, for example. It controls the north of the map, sort of like almost like I guess with the Starks are. You've got a Vanguard Keep up through that side. Back into here, we're actually in a place called Andalon, and you can see there the contracts available 0. Great allies in through there as well for the actual house, the House Talleyrand, as well as the actual city itself. So Andalon is a place that is very, very supportive of us. As we come across, the same house controls this one. So House Talleyrand sort of controls this particular location, and a bit like Battle Brothers, it does actually have different sorts of events. So this one here has got bandits that have been spotted along the roads, and even some some daring to make raids on the city itself. Trade has slowed down as a result, and costs have risen. Similarly down through here, bandits, same house and control, but we haven't done anything for these. There's 3 contracts there, 4 contracts there. Got another one here where we've got the roads are active with trade, saturating the city's market with wealth and goods. Those such things may attract those with ill intent. And we also have demons and wraiths have been seen in the area. They prey upon the vulnerable, and they also make their way into the city. Many will lose their lives. One of the differences, I guess, between the way that Battle Brothers sort of plays out and the way that this one plays out, this is much more high magic, whereas Battle Brothers is much more low magic. You know, it's much more weird and wonderful creatures, but not a real big sort of magic aspect to it. Whereas this is much more like the old traditional Dungeons and Dragons sort of aspect, where you've got like your, you've got a mage class, you've got healers and stuff like that, which you don't get in Battle Brothers. So Battle Brothers is low magic, this is high magic. Circle of the Magi back and through this side, no idea what that is, I haven't been there. And so you've got these different noble families. Now your events will shape the world, and these do tend to be random. So I love this aspect of the game. This is, for me, is where I should be. I feel you should be able to skip straight to this, and then you're actually in the game, and sort of doing what you need to then be actually doing. So I've got a fair bit of money. I've got 4 characters, the same 4 characters that I started off with. And I can actually go through and actually have a look at the company, and so you can sort of see through here. This is the roster that we actually have in through this side. We've got any sort of storage that we have with extra weapons, etc. We've got reputation. So these are the different great houses. So Jawston really doesn't like us. They're in the Northern Hold. The others are sort of neutral, and these guys are great allies. So we can't really go north with this particular one. Back and through here, coming soon. I don't know what that one will be. It's a council. It's probably in the roadmap, I would guess. This is company upgrades. Now, what I've done over the course of the prologue is I've put everything into horse training, which gives me a speed increase on the world map. And this is pretty interesting as well, the way it does work. So you can sort of put like down, general type improvements, expeditions, where you can sort of go through. Actually, I've got one with discount as well, just to get things a little bit cheaper when I go into the actual into the dungeons, and then alchemy as well, which you start off with these in through this side, and then you can actually sort of then get more and more of these. And these play a role when you're actually doing the dungeon crawling, which I will get to, I promise you. So anyway, we'll just escape out of that one, and so it's this last one, just company history, as to what they've actually sort of then done. Anyway, actually the history, it'll sort of show, I guess, from what they've all sort of done throughout what they've actually done. But as far as Uric is the main guy. He's the main guy in charge of the group. He's the Pyrolancer veteran. He's age 37, and so when you have a look at these things, there's quite nice aspects. Like when they level up, you do get to sort of level up in a lot of different areas that all affect the way that the game actually does play. And so you've sort of got like, this is really, really, really good. This is the aspect of the game that I just love. And it's sort of one of these things where he's got different traits. Now, I'm not sure if these are random. I think that these are randomly given as well. And so each character has their own aspects and traits and things like this. This one's fatigued for 12 days. Yeah, actually, these are fatigued, so I should actually rest them before we go and do anything. They've also then got their own gear, and some of their gear, there is actually a rust aspect to them, but not when you're actually in the middle of a mission. It's only afterwards that you sort of then have the benefit or the negative of the rust sort of kicking in. I still haven't been able to figure out the best way of actually fixing these, so I don't know how to actually fix those. I guess we have to go to a bigger city or something to actually go and do that. And then there's different magical abilities. This is the high magic aspect, where they have different sorts of things with level ups as well. So each of these then has like level ups as you play the game. So there's a lot to like about the way that the actual roster works and the management of the actual group. It does have very much a Dungeons and Dragons feel, just in the way that it does sort of operate. Now, I'm just going to get my guys to walk across to Turrenhold in through here. Before we need to tend our business in Andalon. Okay, so we need to go back into here. Just enter the city. Now, we have to pick up, this is the last little mission. Now, one of the issues, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but to get through this, there's no skipping. And anyway, that was pretty damn fast actually. So we just picked up more of a like a bit more that we could sort of do back and through there. We've got the inn. I might just quickly go to the inn, and I'm going to rest because my guys are actually fatigued. So each day's rest is going to give them 3 fatigue. Let's get to at least 12. That gives two of my guys full rest. Confirm that. And so it'll just sort of skip past all of this stuff, which is great. Then we can buy around. Like at the moment, there's like a morale factor. So I will just go and buy, give them all a bit of a drink. They get two aspects of morale across the board. And I can recruit other units in through there as well if I wanted to, but at this stage I won't get anyone else in. They're probably not really worth bringing back in, but I can sort of start to bring in other sorts of units as well. So different sorts of in fact these happen to be exactly the group that we have in our main group anyway. Like these are just sort of be replacements for those if we needed them. Anyway, I won't get those because it will start to drain my money a little bit. All right, let's leave the inn. You've got a marketplace as well where you can go and buy equipment. This is where I thought I'd be able to then go and fix up the equipment that we actually had, but I can't find it anywhere. So I'll leave that where that is. You've got a way of sort of sorting, which is fine. That's not a problem. The infirmary is where you can then sort of take your troops in for healing. We don't actually have any troops that require healing at this stage. So the overworld is quite nice, the way it sort of does work. Now we've done what we have to do here. We'll leave the city, and we'll now just go and, so we sit it along the main road, from the rear, yeah, blah, 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 blah. So if you like reading, you're going to like this game. But I just wish I could skip past all this stuff. I don't even really read it, to be honest. It's very, very long-winded, and I wish that there was a way to skip it. This is open world, and we're still doing stuff. I didn't read any of that. So, hang on, here we go. Sorry, that did set up the next part of the campaign for us, the Path of Vengeance. And I don't know, like for me, it's games that get too verbose, these sort of games, do leave me a little bit flat, to be honest. So anyway, that's one aspect. Now, you'll sort of see through here when we have a look up through this area, we've got like this particular Graveswood. Before I actually opened up the save game, was attacked by a dragon. Now the dragon is the main antagonist in the game, and that's sort of so the city was devastated in the wake of a dragon attack that has left a trail of void spawn threatening the country or the county. The Vanguard will have their hands full dealing with that threat, as well as those that have been affected by the blight. And so through here we've got like reports of blighted sightings, we have civilians on edge. There may be a nest of them nearby posing a threat. So we could go up and actually do missions in there. There's 5 contracts available. There's also more wildlife. Back in through here we're sort of finding reanimated corpses and the undead. Let's go to here though, actually. Or no, let's go to here. So we'll just confirm the travel. So it just travels along the road. I can't really sort of stop it. I think I can. I can if I click on one of these. Oh, here comes the dragon. So this is the dragon. So it's going to damage that particular city. Now that's the city that doesn't like us. And off she goes again. And then that will leave its own set of events. Now, Scourge ended. The Scourge has ended. There would be many people trying to rebuild in the wake of that dragon attack. Thanks for the info. So that's the Scourge. And then we find, yep, there's another city devastated. So there's now 2 cities that have been devastated. This was the capital, but these guys are enemies of ours. So there's nothing we can do to help them at all. Let's continue on back up this way. So we'll just go and click on that one, confirm the, we can have a look at the city information as well to see sort of what's actually, what they're like. It's neutral at this stage. But we'll just go in there and sort of see if we can actually just do a mission for them. So we'll just go across, confirm the travel. Oops, here we go. Your caravan halts. As in the distance you spot a group of refugees on the run, fervently pursued by void spawn filth. Next to you, Alaric lowers his spyglass and twists towards you, concern on his face. So, anyway, blah, 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 blah. We can't stand by and watch them die. Prepare to attack. Help them. Okay, so we can either ignore them or help them, and of course we're going to be helping them because we want to get on the good side of the local nobles, so we'll go that way. And we gain 25 renown with the cities of Arathon. So these guys have now become a little bit happier with what we're doing. So we'll attack. Now this will be an outside mission. This will be an encounter. I want to show the inside missions as well. Anyway, I'm just going to go and grab everybody because we need everybody for these missions. So we'll venture forth. I'll show you also, I'll get to the point of showing another sorts of combat as well. So this one, I'll keep it all one, even if it ends up being an hour video, I'll still just make it one big video. All right, so I'll explain about the way combat works. That way we don't have to go through it. I can then sort of show the dungeon crawling a little bit differently. This is a deployment phase. If we were ambushed, we wouldn't get the deployment phase. We'd just be where we actually are. We've got our 4 characters. We've got the this is Uric Redwater, and he is like a warrior with flame magic. Is sort of the way he does work. We've got this one in through here. This is Rosalind Brightflower. She's like a paladin. She's called a guardian in the game. We have we've got Philon Nightraven, who's a pugilist, but quite an interesting one. He's got some fairly interesting attacks. Then finally we've got our mage at the back here, so Stefan Junefirth. Now, one other aspect I don't like about the game, it doesn't show me the initiative from the very, very start. Quite often the pugilist gets to move first, and but sometimes not. So it's very hard to sort of tell what's going on. Now the enemies that we've got ourselves a risen ghoul. These are pretty weak, but they're immune to blood damage. Like you can sort of see there that it's immune to bleeding. We've got these guys in through here. These are flayers. They've got resistances to the dark and immunities to charm or fear. And then we've finally got the last one is a null beast disruptor in through this side, which is immune to silence attacks. And it actually creates its own silence areas. Silence means that you can't use your skill set. So what we're going to do is I want to see what this guy has got, because he's got a speed of 4, actually movement of 3. So 1, 2, 3, he can get to there. So I just want to stay back a little bit. In fact, I'm sort of happy enough with where my guys actually are. I'll just move that one to there and this one into here. There we go, we'll start our combat. Now he does get to move first. Follow this. Well, I wish this was up here at the start, just so you can sort of plan a little bit ahead. So I'm just going to leave him back at this stage and just go and wait. Now these all get to have their shot. And then all of mine will then have another move after this. Okay, so we've got now Rosalind. I'll just go through the way that the game does work. If I move into there, I'm moving into tall grass, which lowers your accuracy but increases evasion. So we get more evasion if we're actually in the tall grass. Back over on this one, this is just mud, so inflicts slow on occupants, lowering their speed, which doesn't really worry me. So I'm going to go and move her down to here. She's got reasonable defense, reasonable sort of armor. So I'll move her down to that aspect through there. And so she's now hiding in the void, in the long grass, getting more ways of sort of avoiding damage, but also getting a little bit where she can't quite do enough. Now, I've got a few different things that I can do with her, and I won't spend too much time with this one, but essentially I've just got like a mundane attack, which is the default. I can use Dawn, which is actually heal a single target, so I can heal up units that I've got through here. Safeguard or Judgment. These are just different sorts of spell abilities, but let's just go and hit this one, because this is going to be a fairly easy fight. Now this one through here, you sort of think, okay, well, why don't you move into there? Because if I move into there, this one, the evasion of the ghoul, you can see it's got evasion of 5%. There's a chance that it can sort of weasel its way out. Now I do want these guys in the front rows essentially, so I'm going to move this one around to the other side. I then get a flanking a deal on this guy, and you'll see like a little thing will then pop up. That, I don't know what that graphic actually is, but anyway, it means flanking. So this one has been flanked, and you can see down the bottom there, it says received an additional 15% damage from all incoming attacks. Evasion dropped to 0. Now, I can make use of these different sorts of attacks if I really want to, but at this point in time, this will kill it off, because we've got the because it's a fairly weak character anyway, and because I've now got the flanking, it'll just do what it has to do. All right, then we've got this guy. Now, I'm just going to hit this one anyway, so I'm just going to go and smack this guy, just with a normal attack. And then with the this one here. I'm just going to move across. Now, I've got a few different attacks that I can do with him. And what I might do is I might actually go and... Yeah, look, I'll start here and I'll zip through... I can either kill one of these off or kill this one off. I think I'll kill this one off. I'm going to use this special Fists of Fury. And so when I use the Fists of Fury, I've got to then choose where am I going to end up. And so I'm going to end up, I want to end up over here. And I want to go through and I want to do one attack to hit this guy. I can actually kill that one off as well. Let's go that way actually. Yeah, 2 attacks. So we just use Fists of Fury to sort of bounce across. Now it's the next round and he gets to move again. So I'm going to now just go and do the same Fists of Fury again. And I'm going to now go back to where I was. And this time I'll kill this one off. There we go, 2 shots. It's pretty cool, isn't it, the way it does work. So this one's now bleeding, but we'll finish this one off. And again, I just walk in behind it. That then gives me the actually, one thing I should point out as well, if I move into here, I can still keep on moving in my turn. So it's a little bit like XCOM in this, in one sense as well, although you can keep on moving your different turns. But see how there's like a sort of like a sickle that shows up. That means I'm leaving the zone of control, and he's going to get a free hit against me. But if I keep on moving, I can move it around inside the zone of control, no problem. That's fairly unique. I don't think I've seen it in the game before. So we sort of shuffled across. We're just going to do a bit of a hit in there. This one is now anchored, so you can see there it's actually flanked. And so we'll just kill it off. So fairly simple attack. We just loot all, so we'll just take the loot. And this one's leveled up. Great. Actually, I'm getting to show a lot of stuff in a relatively short period of time. So Pugilist has now leveled up. So you can see that he's good with physical and finesse. The physical will give me extra health, so he's going to have much more survivability. So I've been sort of just ramping the physique up rather than the finesse. The finesse gives me other sorts of benefits. So I'll just go one more physical. And that then gets the... oh, hang on, I've still got another one as well. Look, let's go... Yeah, I can get 2 of those. That gives me another 30. Yeah, I'll do that. So I'll go for physique up to 17, very much like Dungeons and Dragons, essentially. And so in through this side, we also have ability points available too. So I think what I might do is I might go back into the Fists of Fury, which I really do like a lot. And I've got the cleave. I've got 2 more upgrade points. I'm going to grab that one, and I'm going to grab potency as well, increase damage by 25%. So I might as well do that one there. So that's it. We'll just go and close. So we'll just press escape and apply the upgrades. So he's now got nothing else left. So we'll just confirm that. Now the Guardian. Now there's a few other little things that have come up through here as well. These little things here mean that they can actually get other spell levels and stuff like this if required. In fact, you can see we've leveled all the way up through this side. Insight will give me critical damage and power, perception. The conviction will give me defense and power. So I think I'm going to go and just put them both into there. And these are locked at this stage. I can't unlock that just yet. So I'll just get out of that one. Did we put it in there? Yeah, we did. And we've got Judgment, Safeguard. The Dawn, the healing one, is by far the best one that we want. Increased range +1. I don't really want that, so I'll apply that one. We've still got 1 more point. And we've got Safeguard and Judgment. I'll go with Judgment. And I'll go with Hold 'em Down. So we'll just apply that one there. I don't know exactly what that one does do. Okay, still got the level up and through this side as well. So... Insight or Mind. Insight will then give me power. If I go with Mind, it gives me power as well. Let's just go with power in this case. And he's got some really quite interesting ones in through here, which do a lot of damage. I might just go more this side. Go extra charges. We'll apply that one. And Arc Lightning. We'll get potency 2 there. I'll just apply that one there. Okay, so that's sort of now just a bit of a level up in through there. We'll just go E, loot all. Area cleared. Great, continue. So that's the loot that we found. This is just a bit of a summary. We'll just close this one in through this side. And we'll now just continue on. Confirm. Hopefully we won't have too much more that we have to then look at. Right, so you can see there the town is now a little bit friendlier than what it was before because we've actually now helped it out by helping out those refugees. We've still got these reanimated corpses and things around the place. So what we'll do is we'll enter the city. And we've got the same sort of deal in through here again. If I have a look at the inn, I can just go to rest. I can see, okay, everyone's pretty good actually. Let's just rest for one day. Just confirm that. Not a problem. We won't bother if you're recruiting. Do we have any level 2s or anything? No, they're just all level 1s. We should probably take some level 1s just to sort of get them leveled up in different missions. Now we've only got one mission here. I thought there was supposed to be 5. Okay, help wanted. A mother is looking for her son. So this is one that we like. This is 2 skulls. So this is going to be a little bit more complicated than anything else I've done so far. Okay, worried mother, excuse me, what can I do for you? Blah, 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 blah. We'll look for your son, accept the contract. There's no negotiating for the contract, which I don't mind. I mean, I do find that a little bit sort of funny with Battle Brothers. It goes on a little bit too much. So help wanted, find the missing boy. So this is basically the contract that we actually now have. So we'll now the first one, we can't abandon this one because this is actually part of the campaign. But the open contracts we can actually abandon if we wanted to. So, but I'm not going to do that. And I'll just get started so you can sort of see the way that an actual battle or a dungeon crawl sort of then does sort of start. So if we just go back, go and leave the city. And where is that? That should be showing up. I can't see it. Ah, up there. Okay, it's a little way away. All right, so we'll go after this one here. Confirm. Off we go. Okay, so Philon is actually wanting to renegotiate yearly rate for 3 years. I want him around. He's good. Damn, I can't show this thing. I'm going to have to, I'm going to pause this. I'm just going to get through these fights and then we'll get to the actual battle so you can see the process. So I'll just pause this bit of it. You don't need to see this. All right, we're back on the road. Oh no, come on. I'll pause again. All right, now we're here. So this one, confirm the travel. When we get here, this is now a dungeon crawl that we're going to be doing. It's a 2-skull dungeon crawl. I'm just going to grab everybody. And so we've got everyone actually in through here. The next thing we need to do is select provisions. So we just do this one. Now, by far the most important one to get is healing. Now, we've got a fair few with her. She can heal a little bit as we sort of travel through as well. But I'll just get, I think that's all I'll bother getting. We can get bandages. That can be sort of useful. But once we actually finish an actual fight, we then bandage ourselves up anyway. So I think I'll still just get healing. We've got one campfire, one campsite that we can sort of then make use of. So we venture forth. This is how much money we actually have left over. So we'll venture forth into the actual dungeon itself. And so it's very much like Darkest Dungeon now, where we just go through, and these are procedurally generated. So we just sort of skip on our way through. And it's really, really quite nice the way it sort of does work. I get a little bit bored with this sort of stuff, to be honest, like over time, but it is actually quite functional. So this one here, we've got like we've still got deployment phase. We didn't get ambushed as such. Now, there are aspects of this, and I think I'll play out this battle and then just go through. Like these are pits with wooden boards over the top. You can push units into those. The thing I'm looking at in here is I've got melee fighters, skeleton fighters in through here. I've got another risen ghoul, and I do actually have a ranged unit back over this side, this risen arbalist. If I hover over these, we can sort of see that they're all immune to, like they're all basically sort of zombies or skeletons essentially, so this shouldn't be too difficult for us. I'm just going to now go and move the characters, so I might sort of position him. Actually, how fast do those guys move? 3, 1. They're not going to be able to really move. 2, 3. They're going to be up into here actually, so I'm going to move that one up into there. I'll probably fight with this one separately, and I'll have this one actually fight in the middle here. She can be support. and he can just go there, start the combat. Now again, I'm just going to wait until these guys, and again I don't know why they, like, you know, like this one always gets to have a move first, but I don't want him moving out on his own, so I'm just going to leave it there. There's no real negative for doing what we're doing through here, like, you know, in terms of going fast or slow. Good, it's coming on up. Okay, so what I want to do here is I do want to move her up, but I've got to get past this one, so I don't really want... I'll just move her past. Actually, she can come in and attack. This is sort of interesting the way you can do this. You can flip, you can change the change what you're doing. So let's just go and hit this one. Now he can go and swap with her by clicking on top of her. That moves her back out of the way, and then he gets a shot. And that one, he's killed that one off. This one here can't see. Actually, that one's got damage. What I might do is I might just, these come back to life. So I'm just going to go and do a bit of damage to that one. And that's enough just to stop it from doing what it's doing. Now we're going to get another shot here anyway, so I'm just going to move this one up to here, and we should start off again with him. Yep, so he gets to start again. Let's go and use this particular attack. Now through the whole dungeon, these aspects we have, like Fists of Fury and so on and so forth, we only get to use them once for the, like, you know, one pip, not for the fight, but for the whole dungeon, which is really quite interesting. Unless we actually sort of then camp. Let's kill that one off. So the fighting is interesting. Like, you know, it's sort of the way it does actually work. Now I think I'm happy enough for her to come back down here and do some damage in through this side. Now she does actually have Judgment, immediately root an adjacent target for 1 round, then channel for 5 turns to deal massive damage into them. So let's just use that one there just for the sake of the argument. So she's now channeling. He can then come through. He's going to kill this thing anyway, actually, so that was a bit of a waste. Now I've got different attacks that I can do with him, but I'll just do a mundane attack. These aren't really strong enough. I shouldn't have done that. He's got to move in a little bit closer. He's not going to get a chance, so I'll just hit this one up. Now we've got things like, for example, falling rocks are now going to start falling from the surface, and this one here is now stuck there. So let's go and hit this guy. Actually, we might hit this guy. I can't push any of these into the rocks, so we'll just go and do another one of these and then kill off the zombie. Now he's stuck there, and he's been destroyed. Now the rocks are still going to be falling. I can actually walk on the pit. I just got to be careful. What I might do is I might just walk to there. And this one as well. We do need to finish. Actually, I wonder if the rocks will finish that off for us. Might have a look and see. Missed. So the rocks should come at the end of this, so we'll just move this one back in around, and I'll just end her turn there. There we go. It did destroy it. I haven't seen that. Alright, so we've got... Now this is where we're going to have rocks falling into here, but we're going to be out of here before that goes. Now I'm inside his zone of control, so I'm just going to move this one across and push him into the pit, just so you can see this aspect as well. There's a lot that you can do in this game. So just going to go with the kick. Oops, hang on. Kick. Why can't I kick him? Oh, there we go. He's supposed to have moved back. That didn't work. I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, well, she can't do anything. I'm not sure what's going on there, actually. Something weird has happened here. Just leave that one there. that should have been kicked back into the actual dungeon. Anyway, well, let's just finish this thing off, and then we just have to kill that bit of it off, and then we just get out of there. So we'll just loot all. And so the dungeon sort of proceeds like this. There's a whole lot of different things you can do with this one. If I just press tab, you've got like different, like this was a normal combat. You've got loot, you've got hazards, NPC events, secret events, boss fights at the very end of the. Like sometimes they'll be at the end, sometimes they'll be a little bit in from the end of the objective. If you're trying to find something very particular, in this case it'll be the sun that we're looking for. Locked path, blocked path, for example. These will be on the actual paths themselves. So when we have a look here, he has been injured a little bit, and so there's nothing sort of lasting like bleeding or anything like that. But if I now go back into my consumables, I can then either use her spell casting to heal him up, or I can use small potions in through here. This one restores 200 health, and this one restores 172. So let's go and use this one here. So I'm just going to use a spell, one of her spells. There we go. And you can see there it's now used up one of the pips. So that one's sort of now been done. And we then just continue on. Now, one thing you'll notice as we go through each of these, we're chewing up a time modifier. Now, it's not what you think where you've got to do the dungeon within that time frame. I'll just try to... Actually, one thing I might do is I'll keep on going. Here we go. We've got with curiosity in her eyes, Rosalind runs a probing handle on the wall, suddenly stopping and turning to get your attention. I reckon there's something beyond this wall, though I can't say for certain. So let's do a search. We've got 12 of 20 time at this point in time. So we'll search the area for 6. Discover a narrow passageway and follow it to another chamber. At its centre lies a spring filled with shimmering water, slowly filling in some of the passage above. Rosalind approaches and kneels down, running a hand through the cool waters. As my knowledge is fading me, I do believe this water has healing properties. Indeed, I suppose we'll soon find out. We'll drink the water. A fortunate find. Good find. Okay, so there we go. So this is sort of like the... it's interesting, like in the sense that the game... Like this is all procedurally generated. I do like what this one does. I just find these a little bit long-winded at times. So I actually prefer the events in the actual world itself rather than in the dungeons, but it's still a nice mechanic. Now we're up to 18 of 20. I'm just going to just for the sake of showing the way this one works, we'll go back to what we know as a safe spot, and we'll just come back into here. We've now gone for the next phase, and so there's some whole lot of random things that can then come up. This is deadly contraptions. So you've noticed that the traps here seem to be more sophisticated than most. Best remind everyone to be careful. So traps now deal double damage if we stumble across them. We'll just go continue. That will then appear down the bottom here. And so that is the next aspect. Now what we can do is when we start getting close to the timer, we do have one camp that we can create. I didn't show it this time, but that is something that you can actually then go and do. You can also spend time to scout ahead a little bit to see what's actually coming up if you wanted to. I tend to find it's because you're trying to sort of get through without too much of this happening. You don't want to waste too much time. Anyway, it's a pretty cool game. So I hope this is enough to at least give you a bit of a feel for the game. Certainly the issues that I have are the pretty much not being able to get past the prologue. That's the big one for me, actually, and that it is fairly verbose with no way to skip the commentary, which isn't really important. Like if you're not unless you're sort of playing the campaign game. So anyway, I think I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and again, a big special thank you to my Patreon supporters, and I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. So if you do like it, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll catch you guys next time.